These niggas think it ain't crazy out here.
Hey, and welcome to iHeart Intellectual Radio, the Chronicles of Rohn. I am your host, Alan J. Campbell, aka the Batman. Hey, welcome to the show. Hey, I'm gonna get into a couple of things tonight that has happened over the last week, but I'm gonna jump into something that's happened within the last, say 12 hours. Okay, first things first. Everybody know we're here in the city of Chicago and the county of Cook. The big thing right now is the Jussie Smollet situation where he was re-indicted on a few other different charges. So today was his arraignment. So he showed up at the Layton Criminal Courthouse to be officially charged on pretty much some of the same things, which was filing a false police report. Now, understand something. Filing a false police report is a serious situation. It is a class 4 felony, which is punishable by a $250,000 fine or in 1 to 3 years. Now, he has four of the 6 counts are those things. Now, what people need to understand. Each and every time that you interact with police officers and giving a statement that is untrue, that is considered a count. That's considered a count. So he gave 4 different versions, which is one count, one. So that he gave it when he was interviewed several different times. He gave 4 different versions. So that winds up being 4 counts. Now, ultimately, if let's just say, for the sake of argument, that the powers that be, that this actually goes to trial, which is subject to do because it was handed the new indictment was issued or handed down by the special prosecutor Dan Webb, who was a former federal prosecutor. Okay, now if and speaking to the layman's out there, now I'm pretty much a law buff. I pretty much enjoy enjoy the law. And make no mistake, I am a proponent of the law. When it works, it's fine. When it doesn't work, I have an issue with that. I mean, because truth be told, I'm living proof that sometimes the law does not work, even in my own personal situation. It does not work. It's not perfect, but at the same time, when you know it's not perfect, there are things that you are expecting. Keyword expecting prosecutors to do. Keyword. Now, remember now, I said expecting. Remember now, but understand something. That is our expectation. And remember, your or my expectation is not someone else's expectation. Now, what happens here is that when you have a special prosecutor, the only way a special prosecutor comes in is that it is at the request of either the state's attorney or district attorney, whatever county or province you may live in. Okay, here in Illinois, we have counties, so you have state's attorneys. It was at the request of a retired judge that, hey, we need to look in how and why this situation went the way it did. Okay, fine. I don't, truth be told, I don't have a problem with that. I really, really don't. But as long as the process, should I say, is fair, as long as the process is right, and you are not withholding, and you are treating each individual equally. Now, in the Constitution, it says fair and equal treatment under the law. But we have to remember something, Black people. When these laws were written, they were written to oppress us and not help us. We have to understand the difference. Okay? Now, with that being said, naturally, Jussie Smollett, he pled not guilty to all the charges. Now, the flip side to that is that the 2 star witnesses for the prosecution or for the state's attorney, the Sundro brothers, that's going to be his biggest obstacle of trying to refute their testimony. These are 2 guys that at the very beginning said that Jussie Smollett paid them to stage this attack because he was let me rephrase that. Allegedly staged this attack, because remember now, he hasn't been convicted. Also, his attorneys, Jussie Smollett's attorneys, are concerned that this may fall under double jeopardy. Okay, hold on. Now let's clarify something here. First and foremost, I'm not a lawyer, but I understand the terminology of double jeopardy, and I understand how the letter of the law works and is interpreted. Double jeopardy only applies when you have been tried or convicted or tried and acquitted of a particular crime. Double jeopardy means that you cannot be tried for the same crime twice. Here's the thing, people. Jussie Smollett was never tried. So double jeopardy does not apply. Understand? We have to understand that. It does not apply. Now, so the judge ordered, so the judge gave him a bond of $20,000, which is 10% of a $200,000 bond, because they, very simply put. So naturally, he walked out of there and, posted his bond and jumped on a plane back to, wherever he was going, Booty Land or wherever the case may be, wherever he was at. Who cares? But at the end of the day, so now he's due back in court March 18th for this to continue. Now, with that being said, this situation is also coming on the heels of a very hotly contested state's attorney's race. Okay, Kim Foxx. We have four individuals that are running for state's attorney right now. We have the incumbent Kim Foxx, who basically got this ball rolling by the way she handled this. You have Kim Foxx, you have Bill Conway, you have Donna Moore, and you have Bill Federetti. These are four individuals. Okay, all of these individuals. Now, the three, they are hammering away at Kim Foxx's record. They're hammering away. The biggest thing they're all hinging on is that the handling of the Smollett's case. If this had been an average Joe, if this had been anybody else but a celebrity, we wouldn't even be talking about this. This would almost be a point to where Kim Foxx would almost be a shoe-in for re-election. A shoe-in. But right now, she's fighting for her political life. Keyword, fighting for her political life. Her response is, well, we've tried, we've done other cases like this. The bad part about it is that her opponents are having trouble finding any other cases that she treated like this with the Smollett case. Here's the thing about the Smollett case, or let me rephrase that. Here's the thing about how this case should have went. Number one, when you realized that there was a conflict of interest, when you started having conversations with, or when people were having conversations with you, and I'm referencing people having conversations with Kim Foxx, or they say to a point where it's ex parte, and discussing this case, or when she told the public, she even told people in her office that she had recused herself. When you recuse yourself from a case, that means that you or anyone in your office or staff are not allowed to have any type of access or information to this case. This should have went to an outside agency, to where she could have farmed it out to Lake Lake, DuPage, Will, LaSalle counties, to where if you are an individual and you want to show levels of it, you want to show integrity and fairness, this is what should have been done. She did not do that. We have to also remember that this is her first, and we can't use this as an excuse, as it's her first time on the job in handling a huge municipality. And when I say municipality, Cook County, and look this up. I shit you not. Cook County is the largest county in the country. A lot of people didn't know that. Not only that, but then she's overseeing the largest county jail in the country. Kim Foxx experience, she comes from the juvenile court division, where she's handling juvenile cases. You're not juvenile felony cases. You're not handling adult felony cases. You're not seeing the real carnage that is going on. You're not dealing with that. Do I say that she was inept at handling the job? Yes, absolutely. She was completely out of her depth. Completely. You know, Ms. Fox, if you were unsure or how to do this, you should have asked somebody. Now, right now, at this particular point, she's fighting for her political life. And I do mean political life. The guy that's running really, really hard is a guy named Bill Conway, whose daddy is a billionaire. This guy, his daddy, Bill Conway's daddy, has invested, and I'm telling you, this is how you win in politics. This guy has funded his son's campaign at the cost of $860,000. He has put $860,000 into his son's campaign. Look, I'm gonna tell you, at $860,000, you better win. Whether you want to say that he bought the election or not, he's got the money and he's putting the numbers out there and he's got the ads. This guy's running 2 and 3 ads practically a week. We have to understand. And here's the thing: one of the things that I totally disagree with, and I saw this earlier this week. That she was at a rally and you had practically all of the black ministers in the city of Chicago, all of them standing there and saying that, oh, that the timing of the timing of this of Smollet being charged is politically motivated. Well, wake up. Hasn't politics been done? Politics has been it's been done that way since politics were understood. It's been that way. It's been that way since the Romans. Since the Romans implemented, instituted that quid pro quo. Since the Romans did that, this is nothing new. And looking at her stand there, she looked at it. She had the look of what they call defeatist. She didn't say one word, not one single solitary thing, because this is a bad deal, and she knows it. My opinion, she ought to just simply bow out, save face, go away with a little bit of dignity to where at least you can practice in the private sector. Because because next week is what they call Super Tuesday, and Super Tuesday is in the political world is when a lot of states are voting or they're getting a lot of delegates, and this is where a lot of people are coming out and doing and voting and so forth and so forth. My opinion, and this is how I see it, and I've been really following politics for a long time, is that very simply put, she might win the city of Chicago, but she's not going to win Cook County. She's not going to win those little those little collar cities, places like Rolling Meadows, Berwyn, Naperville, so places like that. She's not going to win that. This guy Bill Conway is the quintessential of what European America wants a state's attorney to look like. Blonde hair and blue eyes with the button with the shirt and tie. The unfortunate part, and I said this before, the unfortunate part is that sometimes people, we are given a gift. We are given a gift when we're put into a political seat, and we just completely ruin it by some of the stupid things that we do. The stupid things that we do. The biggest thing she should have done is what is very simply put is what even her own people are saying. And this is the Illinois Prosecutors Association have said she should have completely recused herself. Her office, keyword, recuse your office from this case. Because why? Kim Fox had political ties with Smollett and Smollett's people. Not to mention that you had an ex parte conversation with people from Smollett's camp. You can't do that. People say all the time, I should have been a lawyer. Well, you know what, and I agree. I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. Not to say that the thought hasn't run across my mind to go back to school and study, but looking at it, and I can honestly say, being a victim of the system, I fully understand how it works. It's what it's almost to a point where you have to sometimes you have to become a victim to understand how things actually work, opposed to what they're telling you. Opposed to that. So when it comes to Super Tuesday, right now, at this particular point, she's not only fighting for her political life, but she can wake up March 4th and not have a job, which is a strong and distinct possibility. We have to understand that certain political moves that we make, or certain moves that we make in the political realm, can be devastating, can be our own undoing. Our own undoing. And I don't think she fully understood that. And the bad part about it, nobody educated her on this. Hey, the moment this came across your desk, and somebody should have pulled you to the side and said, this is something that you and your office need to step away from, because it's not going to. Here's the thing. This dude has been in the news for exactly 1 year. I can't remember the last time a story concerning one person and an office has been in the news like this. I can't remember the last time this has happened. Can not remember the last time this has happened. So, with that being said, we've handled that. Now I'm going to another part, another story, and I'm going to jump into something else. A lot of you should be familiar. If you're not, should be familiar with movie mogul Harvey Weinstein. And my engineer had a question that she wanted to ask me, and the question was, "Do I think this man is going to get some prison time?" Hell yes, because they have to send a message. We're not in an age now. We're not at a we're at a we're I won't say an age. Let me rephrase that. We are at a time now where people are now, they're wanting accountability. They're asking for accountability. People have to be held accountable now. Now, don't get me wrong. Now, I'm gonna make it now, and I want to make this clear, people. I want to make this clear, especially and women. If and any women, anybody that's listening, any female. Let me rephrase that. Any female that is listening to this show and listening to this particular segment of what I'm going to talk about Harvey Weinstein, make this clear. I myself and the station, we do not, make it clear, we do not condone violence against women. We do not. We do not condone any sort of violence against women. Personally, I mean, it's just absolutely low down and disgusting. You have to be a truly incorrigible son of a bitch to do something like that, and to think that this is in your mind, in your convoluted mind, that this is okay. So, going on to Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein was charged with several counts of sexual assault. This is going back to This is going back to the summer of 2019. So he went to trial, and the trial lasted about roughly 5 weeks. Roughly, I think it was like 5 weeks. So the jury got they got the case Friday. Now, let me give you a little bit of history of Harvey Weinstein for those who probably don't know. Harvey Weinstein was he was a movie studio executive. Basically his name was on a lot of movies during the 90s, 2000s, and past 2010 that a lot of us probably watched. In fact, he produced a lot of Quentin Tarantino movies. A lot of his company, Miramax, that was his company. In fact, Miramax was a combination of two names of Harvey Weinstein's parents of his parents, his mother Mira and his father Max. Common sense put it together, Miramax. Even I was like, wow, that makes sense. But this guy was one of the most powerful movie execs in Hollywood. Now, let me take you back a little bit, and I'm gonna pause that just before I get too far. If you want to join in the conversation or you got a comment, give us a call here at the studio at 708-223-8953. That's 708-223-8953. And also shout out to my man Captain Hooks. Just let you know, I ain't forgot about you, brother. I'm gonna take care of you. That's how we do things here at iHeart Intellectual Radio, the Chronicles of Rohn. But going back to when what they call the proverbial casting couch. The casting couch. Now I'm gonna get deep and I'm gonna get raw. So just understand this. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm just telling you the truth, and it's up to you on how you want to accept that or perceive it. This has been going on since the inception of feature film. Since they took a reel of film and put it on a projector and started filming. The whole understanding is that if sweetie, if you want to make it in the business, you want to make it in the movie, you got to get up here and get up on the couch and throw your legs up 10 toes to Jesus. That's how it's going to work. Okay. And that's the truth. That's exactly how it worked. That is exactly how it worked. We're not saying, and no, make it, and I'm gonna reiterate this. That's how it worked, but that's not how it should have worked. A person should be respected. They should be given the opportunity, not based on what you're giving them or what they can do. And unfortunately, this is how people took advantage. They were people such as, when we go further back, individuals like Carol Lombard, individuals like Marilyn Monroe, Lana Turner. I know this is probably over the head of some of you all, but this is what really went on. The proverbial casting couch. And then if we move further into a lot of different things, when you had the Pam Greers of that decade, and so on and so on and so forth, and now we get to the point to where you had the Rose McGowans, you've had the Annabella Sherrors, and so on and so forth. It gets to a point to where enough is enough. And the thing about is that enough people came out, and now remember now, this also brought about the hashtag Me Too movement. This is what also brought this about. So Harvey Weinstein went to trial. The jury got the case Friday. They deliberated and they came back today with a guilty verdict. They found him guilty of sexual assault and sexual assault of the third degree. Now this is in New York. Now understand something. He still has charges pending in California. Harvey Weinstein was not only was he convicted, but the judge stated to take him into custody immediately. Right now, Harvey Weinstein is spending the night in New York, in the custody of the New York County correctional facility at Rikers Island. He's literally he's in Rikers Island. He is in the proverbial. He's in the boom boom room. Truth be told, truth be told. And the thing about it is that I call it a twist of fate, because now you're in a place that you don't want to be. But dude, think about the women that you put in a position who did not want to be there. Now I'm gonna slice it. I'm gonna slice this. I'm gonna cut this piece of bread in half because I want to be able to do this because I want everybody to understand something here. Now this is what happened. Now a couple of women, according to his people, these women showed up at his hotel, and then this other story was that he showed up at their hotel. Okay, fine, we get that, but let's play the devil's advocate for a moment. Let's go back. What was that? I want to say in the late '90s. I'm just trying to draw it off memory at this moment. Let's go to Mike Tyson. How this man was completely ruined by a young lady by the name of Desiree Rogers. Okay. Now, Mike Tyson was at the top of his game. He was doing his thing. Now, and all this happened in Indianapolis, Indiana. This chick showed up at his hotel room via a limousine at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay. What do you think is gonna happen? Pause. Let's like I say, let's play the devil's advocate. Ladies, what do you first of all, what could be on your mind to go even if you're not going to you going to some guy's hotel room, you're showing up at his house at 2:30 in the morning. You not there, you sure as shit not there to sell Girl Scout cookies. You're not giving out subscription to Sports Illustrated, but you're showing up at his house in a raincoat at 2:30 in the morning. This woman showed up at Mike Tyson's hotel room at 2:30 in the morning. Let's and just keeping it real. Just keeping it real. What do you think is going to happen? Or let's put it this way. This is the implied act. You are implying that I'm game for whatever you want to get into. If you disagree, please let me know. Please let me know. How many of us, let's here's the other part. Fellas, how many of you all have got the call from your girl or for some jump off at 11:30 and say, hey, I'm not doing nothing. You want to swing by? Look, I was told long time ago, and I don't, that hey, it ain't nothing open between 11 and 4 but somebody's legs. It ain't nothing open between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. but somebody's legs. We just keeping it real here. That's the absolute truth. Or as they say, nothing good happens after 11. Nothing good. How many of you cats went then got the phone call from some chick, some jump off, or your girl, and say, hey, why don't you just swing by? I ain't doing nothing. We could blah, 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 blah. Woo, 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 woo. Really? Keep it real, fellas. That has happened. Ladies, how many times have you called some cat and say, hey, look, this is what's happening. Why don't you swing by? Really? Really? Hey, welcome to iHeart Intellectual Radio, the Chronicles of Rohn. Who do I have on the phone and where you calling from?
This is Jay from Georgia.
Oh, look out. All right, people. You all know when Georgia calls, you know what's about to happen. So sit back, relax, strap it down because he's about to blow your wig back. Your eyelash is about to fall off. Everything is about to happen. Go ahead, bro.
All right. So let's discuss this Harvey Weinstein situation. Now, the problem that I have is, and I think you kind of mentioned it in the interlude. Now, there is a clear and distinct difference between legitimate sexual assault, legitimate victimization of both a male or a female, as it relates to either sexually or non-sexually or even emotionally and psychologically. So those type of, again, legitimate assaults, legitimate attacks should be prosecuted, should be exposed, and should be dealt with. And the difference that I have between a legitimate and an illegitimate type of scenario is what I am seeing defined here in this whole Me Too, You Too, R2, D2 BS that I've made several mentions on this program. And the problem that I have with that sort of foolishness is these are predominantly people who have failed in other areas of their life and are seeking yet some other opportunity to gain a level of relevancy, legitimacy, and a point of reference to matter. And in doing that, they don't care who they destroy in the process. It just suits their purpose of gathering or garnering attention and or some sort of leverage to matter. Now, again, I find it very hard for you to be a victim of someone like a Harvey Weinstein or even many others. And I say that because if you have one chili bean in your brain, everyone understands that the entertainment industry is a few pages away from hardcore porn. Understood. Definitely understood, especially if you're a female. Period. You're not getting into the record business unless there's some extracurricular talents that you can at least give the illusion that you're willing to go for. Period. And it's not going to happen in the movie business. It's the same thing. And this is nothing new. Nothing new at all. And anyone that wants to sit here and play the game of, well, this is just preposterous. This is outrageous. You're a liar. Either you're a liar or you're delusional, because this has happened. This has occurred. This is almost, as they call in corporate America, SOP, standard operating practices. Period. Now, to those self-righteous bastards, because that's what you are, who want to take the role, well, that's never happened. I've never known that to happen. You're a liar. A person like R. Kelly, a person like Harvey Weinstein, and several others who will probably go nameless, could not have become so notorious did they not have the embracing or the empowering network of people who created this streamline of willing victims or participants, is the better term. They created a pipeline of people to literally serve up to these people. And the reason why they did that was because two things. There was an exchange that took place that this person or these people were willing to sacrifice or indulge in something for the belief or the hope that they would receive something. So let's be very clear. There are no victims here. You went in with the expectation or with the hope of seeing, being, or receiving something, and they too accepted you upon the hope or expectation or maybe the illusion that they would receive something. So in my opinion, and it could be narrow, it could be flawed, this sounds like a regular business transaction. This is nothing new to me as opposed to you going up to the Subway sandwich shop and picking out a sandwich. Would you like that with guacamole or without? Because we understand that there was some level of exchange that was going to happen. You expected that. As a matter of fact, you invited it.
It's what we used to call fair exchange in a robbery.
It is. And I think the problem here is that we have become so delusional that we can do whatever we want, and it's not our fault. It's not our responsibility. It's not our accountability at all. They should have known better. Yeah, so should have you.
But
And if you've never grown up in a house where your mom or your dad or your uncle or your aunt never told you to show up in certain places without an escort or without something else, that's your fault. And I'm going to say that because of this. In the course of this whole R. Kelly and surviving R. Kelly foolishness and all that other stuff, Matthew Knowles, who is a very outspoken manager and producer and media music icon, came out and did a statement. He said, you know what, we had several opportunities to work with the guy. He said, and I'm not throwing shade either way. He said, but I made it very clear to my artists, and particularly to my daughter, there was going to be no interaction with this person without adult supervision, first of all. And second of all, there was not going to be any overnight sessions, especially anything that we could not attend or we were not in the full presence of. And people tried to ridicule us and pressure us. Well, you know, he's one of the hottest producers and that and this and that and so on and so. And Matthew Knowles stuck to his guns, first as a father, then as a business person. Hey, listen, I don't give two shakes how hot he is. What you're not going to do is have one or somebody that I care about on the spread of some magazine with something that we can't take back.
Right. Well, let me ask you this.
What he did and what he said, this used to be common sense.
Okay, now let me ask you this question. When you and to piggyback off what you just said, and I do, and you're right. You're absolutely right. There has to be a point of common sense that has to kick in, and I say that to a certain degree with the two women who have basically accused Harvey Weinstein. There's a point to where, hey, there's a level of accountability. There's a point to where you say, hey, look, at some point or another, you have to understand that something is absolutely wrong. And I'm gonna go left right quick. I'm gonna go left on you right quick. It's no different right now, and since people we are talking about the subject of Harvey Weinstein and sexual assault and the violence that is being perpetrated. Let's flip this for a moment. The fact that the Boy Scouts of America are in the process of filing bankruptcy because they have to offset all of the lawsuits that some of their troop leaders have been accused of. Listen, first and foremost, if I'm part of I'm saying this rhetorically. Look, there's a point to where you have to feel some level of uncomfortability to where if you're sitting with your counselor, this is what's going on, and this counselor becomes too friendly or winds up sticking his finger up some little boy's booty hole. At some point, when there's a point to where, and even to a point where if even it's a woman and she's feeling uncomfortable and she's being touched in a way or a manner that makes her feel uncomfortable, there's a point to where common sense should kick in to say, this is not what I want, this is uncool, or whatever the case may be. There's a point to where sometimes when you don't say anything, you continue to enable them to do what they do. And this is some of the things that has happened. We have right now, we have women out there who have been who have been victims. And then the killing part is that they're constantly being victimized over and over and over because their perpetrator or their offender is either still out there walking the streets, or they'll see them on the street, or no one believes them when it's subject to be a friend or a family member. There's a point to where we have to pull together and say enough is enough. And when you went to the thing about Matthew Knowles, you're absolutely right on that. There's no way in hell that I would allow my daughter, my 14-year-old daughter, my 16-year-old daughter, my 18-year-old daughter to go with somebody that I don't know. I'm not even comfortable. I don't give a good goddamn on what you do or how you about it. There's something to where we have to understand. We have to develop I won't say a shell, but we have to learn to protect our women like we did years ago. We would
First of
never.
all,
Wait, let me finish. Wait, let me finish. Years ago we would never allow anyone to to disrespect our women or our girls or our daughters. That in itself was enough to where you get killed over just on principle alone. But go ahead.
So, I mean, that in itself speaks to a level. Here is the most dangerous part, and I think I've said this before on this platform. The most dangerous part of this Me Too, You Too, R2D2 foolishness is that it creates an environment where to stand up and to establish or reinforce would be the better word, to reinforce healthy boundaries of masculinity and femininity or male and female roles is now being accused of being a toxic male or toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is that particular stigma is particularly being reinforced or structuralized within the Black community. Now, the problem that I have with that is that we already have a deficient or a distorted perception of family structure to begin with. So now when you start to further emasculate or demonize the role that the male is supposed to play, you are creating an environment where now the women have most of the power. And because of that, now the men cower in fear for being misunderstood. Now, here's the most dangerous part about that whole dynamic is now your enemy knows the exact weakness of how to destroy your community. And he will manipulate that to the hilt, as he has done for the last 70 years. And he's done it in such a covert way that you actually think that you've become empowered when really you've become enslaved. Now, I know what I just said kind of hurt some people because their brain is hurting because they're trying to figure out what I just said. So what he did was, since he couldn't destroy the male outright with physicalities by lynching him and burning him in the city square and drawing and quartering him like he used to, because that's too much shock value. What we will do is, in this day and age, is we will take him and put him in the home, but we will strip all of his power away. We will strip him away from being able to provide for his family. We will strip him of the ability to be able to protect his family. Because remember, if he spanks his children, we can take his children. See how the dynamics are changing? And if he goes too far to correct his woman, she can even have him removed from the home. Again, there is a strong difference between an abusive relationship and a balanced relationship. By no means am I saying that it's okay for anybody to be beat on. That's out of the question. But what I'm trying to show you is how the dynamics have changed. And so what he's done is he's empowered her by economically raising her higher and higher and higher to the point to where you have no value other than just being some dick in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why there is all of this procreation or breeding, because we don't really procreate because most of our children are never planned. They just happen. Very rare that you hear in our community, yeah, we planned for this one. We expected 3 children with 3 different destinies. No, that don't happen with us. Why? Because most of the time it's an afterthought.
And with that being said, now this also falls up under the umbrella of the brutalization of our women because they have lost some of them have lost their way. Some of them here's the thing. Some of them have lost their way. Some of them have not been taught. Some of them do not understand. And as you and that's a very good point on what you said, is that we get into the point where some of them have become basically cash registers, not cash registers, breeders. And I say that only because, look at this, look at it, look here, what we got right now. Right now, this is tax season, and the mindset, the unfortunate mindset of some individuals is that I have X amount of children, so that means more money. You're looking at this as a cash register, a cash cow. So if I keep breeding, and if and we have to understand the terminology and where we're at as a society, and at the same time, we have to look at the individuals that are doing this to us.
Now, let me be very clear.
Yeah, go ahead.
How he is manipulating your community, because once again, the Hispanic community, they encourage families to remain together. In the Asian community, they encourage that it is imperative that the male and the female, that the husband and the wife work together. They encourage that. See, we are so ignorant, and we're so, how can I say, perfectly domesticated like dogs, to where we do not understand that we are the only class of people that are penalized for actually remaining with our own kind.
Yeah, that is true. That is very, very true.
If you don't think that that's true, why do you think that's such a big? Oh my God, they're separating illegals and their families. They're separating fathers from their children and mothers from their children. Well, they've been doing that to you since they got you off the boat.
Exactly. And wait, now correct me if I'm wrong. Now, people, think about this for a moment. Now, I said this some time ago. When they were separating black families, this is where the term, and see, this is the part where we're so ignorant. We're so ignorant to certain things. We don't read, we don't fact check. Where do you think the term Black Friday comes from? The term Black Friday was when each and every slave owner, plantation owner, took his most prized slaves, or even his defective slaves, meaning, now key word, defective. And I'm saying defective, these are the ones that were defective, retards, for lack of a better word, mentally challenged. They had particular different things, like one, he didn't have an eye, or he was missing a limb or something like that. They would take all of these individuals, some of the good, some of the bad. As they say, this is where the term comes from: buyer beware, buyer's remorse. They would take us to the market, and on each and every Friday, and divvy us up. Sometimes they would even take entire families.
Well, it was preferred, and it was usually either right after a harvest season,
right,
or right
before a harvest season,
before their planting season.
Yes.
And the reason being was because those were also times that they went into town to pay taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that goes into a whole nother dynamic, because if they were able to sell you before they went to pay or see the tax assessor, they would take certain losses against their property.
Keyword, property.
Okay. Because you were not human. You were 3/5 of a human. So if this man or this particular company needed to reduce their tax debt by X amount of number from the previous year, or if he didn't do as good at the market as he thought he wanted to do, or he did, but he wanted to cheat the tax man, then he would play the game and selling off some of his property, or moving some of his property for the benefit of playing with taxes.
Right. Exactly. Hey, just so that you all know, you are listening to Intellectual Radio, the Chronicles of Rohn, and my sponsor is Captain Hook here at iHeart Intellectual Chronicles of Ron. But the other thing too is that here's the thing here, and then see here's the different sides of the scale or the ledger, should we say. Our black women have been brutalized and assaulted and ravaged for centuries, and nobody gave a good goddamn. Here you have a man, Harvey Weinstein, who has now been convicted, because now he's a convicted sex offender. Not only that, so he's really effed up 6 ways from Sunday. Now here's a man who's been brutalizing white women for decades. Nobody said anything, but now all of a sudden, now we have to do something about it. And I'm taking a page from the prosecutor, Cyrus Vance Jr., saying that his words were, "This is a great day for all women." Dude, please, really. But once again, see, it doesn't become a problem until it happens to European American. And keyword, see, this year, people, 2020, I'm not going to say white people. I'm going to say Europeans, because they're not from here. Europeans. It becomes.
Let me ask this question.
Yeah.
Let me throw this question out there. I would caution your listeners to find out what Oprah and Gail will say tomorrow. I would really love to see what they say tomorrow.
Hey, yeah.
As Snoop Dogg said it, dog-headed bitches. Excuse my French.
Yeah, he did say that.
Correct. These dog-headed bed warmers who champion for this man.
Right,
As
exactly.
Oprah said it on several interviews. Well, I try to find the silver lining in everything.
She sure did.
I want you to find the silver lining in this. It's going to be as quiet as a church mouse pissing on southern cotton in the snow.
Right.
But 3 weeks ago, you guys were so adamant and so quick to demonize a dead man who could not even defend himself.
Right. Exactly.
So I would really love to hear what the tomorrow headline will say, or what Gail will have to say, or how her interview will be with the friends of Harvey Weinstein now.
Well, I think right about now is that right now, with this guy spending, he's going to be in the boom room at Rikers Island for quite a while. And then once that happens, then he's going to be natural. Because here's the thing. A lot of people disagree with me when they said that Weinstein was not going to be convicted. No, bullshit. No, this guy's going to get convicted. Period. Because here's the thing. Certain what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the words on the tip of my tongue, but it had to.
Is everybody wanted their pound of flesh.
Okay, that would be the best analogy. Right now, this guy has he right now he's a par for the course, and what's happening right now. This also now to a certain degree, I have to agree with I have to agree with what the prosecutor said. A district attorney said concerning Harvey Weinstein, Cyrus Vance. He did say, granted, this is a new day to give women a voice. I understand that. I agree with that. But here's the thing, ladies. Here is the thing, people. I'm not understanding I'm not understanding how you wait. I don't care. That you would wait X amount of time, or you wait X amount of months, or days, months, years, and especially if this is happening over and over, whether it's 1 or whether it's 5, there's a point to where you even say, and I would hope, even as a woman, you would say, this is inappropriate. This is just not going to happen, or I'm not going to allow this. There's a point to where you say, ladies, if you're listening, there's a point to where, and I'm sure that there's some of you all out there that are listening, even some of my listeners. I'm sure that some of you, and you'll never say it, you'll never tell anyone. But and I'm gonna say this, if you have been a victim, there, to a point, you need to sit down and discuss that with someone. Even if the time has elapsed or the statute of limitation has passed, You need to sit down and discuss that with somebody. You need to get some form of closure with that because it has to happen. Because if you continue to carry this and don't address it, this is going to be, so to speak, your pound of flesh. It's going to be your weight that you are going to continue to carry.
Now, this will be your poison.
Yeah, because
this will be your radiating poison. It kills everything.
It kills everything.
Here's one more last thing. If you want to talk about Harvey Weinstein, and I say you should absolutely, then let's pull out them punk preachers y'all keep defending too.
Yeah.
Because if they not putting their finger in somebody's booty hole, they done sucked on somebody. Period. But y'all don't want to talk about that.
Yeah. We have to. There are certain things that we have to start addressing.
Until we can be totally transparent, in my opinion, I don't want to hear it. Because see, now you're being selective with how you want justice to be served, and justice doesn't play like that.
True.
Doesn't work like that.
Very, very true.
And here's my last point. In the whole course of this, let's not ever forget that this has nothing to do with Renita or Sarita's story of Me Too, You Too. This is all about the virtue of the white woman. America has fought wars, has decided cases in the Supreme Court, has destroyed cities, buried hundreds of men, innocent men, all for the defense and the virtue of the white woman. So let's not think that this is all about integrity and purity of justice. This is about protecting the integrity and the presumed virtue of the white woman. Thank you for that time.
All right. Thank you. Yeah. And when we get to talking about these particular things and how they unfold, and the violence towards women, and even to a certain degree, we're not, I don't want to leave anybody out, but the violence towards any woman, whether you're Black, you're European, you're Hispanic, you're Asian, whatever, it doesn't make it right, people. It doesn't make it right. It at all. Understand something. She's a human being. She's not a piece of meat. She's not a dog. She's not an animal that you treat that way. She isn't. There's a point to where you all have a conversation, where you have an understanding, to where you come together at that particular moment, to where everything is not only consensual, but it's understood that this is going to be what it's going to be what it's going to be. We're going to do what we're going to do. Fellas, respect that. Respect her. Do that. Because what happens is that if you are showing levels of respect to your significant other, and when I say significant other, I'm covering all boundaries. Whether it's the girlfriend, the somebody that you're seeing off and on, you're married, whatever, the significant other. If you fellas, men, if you have boys, they are watching, and they are watching how you treat that woman. And understand something: the way that you treat her is the same way he's going to treat her or others. If you're treating her like garbage, like a bag of shit, he's going to do exactly the same thing to her and anyone else that comes down his road. We have to get back to how we worked as a single unit, and respect our women, and vice versa. There has to be a level of equilibrium. You all are going to work together. You work together as a team, not independent of each other. You have to respect each other. But most importantly, you have to treat her with a sense of dignity and respect. Any type of violence against a woman, whether it's one time or whether it's 10 times, is completely unacceptable. We all get angry, and sometimes, ladies, Sometimes you'll say things or you'll do things that will definitely that will truly draw lightning out of us. But it's the stronger man who's able to bottle that lightning and walk away, or say, you know what, I need for you to just back up, step away. Let me gather. This is what. Give him that space. Don't provoke. There has to be an understanding. There has to be a compromise. And the only way that we get that way is that we have to communicate. We have to communicate. This situation with Harvey Weinstein, there was no level of communication. This is an individual who thought that he was above the law. And they showed him that he wasn't above the law. This guy is right now, he's looking at 29 years. This man is 67, I believe. He's looking at 29 years. And if anything, anything beyond anytime that he gets anything more than 15 years, you might as well say he's a life sentence. This guy gets anything more than 15 years, it's over with. But at some point it has to come to an end. It has to be a message has to be sent that this kind of conduct and activity will not be tolerated. It's no longer acceptable. Here in the common world, or in the upper echelons, it's no longer acceptable. Period. You wouldn't want nobody treating your mama that way. Your daughter or your sister. You wouldn't want nobody doing that to her. So why would you do it to someone else? Why would you do that? But anywho, I see the lights flashing in the distance, and the helicopters are about to land, which means that's all the time we have here on iHeart Intellectual Radio, the Chronicles of Rohn. Hey, I want to give a shout out to my man Alex over there at Captain Hook's, 85th and Cottage Grove, 103rd and King Drive, and 15922 Kedzie Avenue in Markham, Illinois. But there was, I really hope that you all take something away from this and understand, you really get to fully understand that we have to do better. We have to do better in our lives, in our relationships, and even wherever we may go. We have to do better. So with that being said,
to the Batmobile. Let's go.
Not my monkey, not my circus. I'm headed to the Batmobile to get me some chicken. See y'all next week.
These niggas think it ain't crazy out here. Now bounce.